Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, I received an alert from the New York Times, and they have an article that talks about how the Trump administration plans to use the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division to basically attack affirmative action. They want to use their resources to investigate and sue various universities around the country over their affirmative action policies, which they say are designed to discriminate against white applicants and Asians. So this is another example of this Trump administration basically declaring war on civil rights, basically declaring war on so-called minorities, on African Americans and other groups. They want to use their resources. Instead of using these resources to fight for civil rights, to fight to protect our civil rights, they are basically weaponizing the Justice Department against the very communities that the Justice Department was designed to protect. Undermining affirmative action. And as many people know, affirmative action has enabled many African Americans to go to college, to go to law school, to go to medical school, to get degrees and to become educated. It has enabled the black middle class to expand. And now you have this Trump administration trying to slam the door of opportunity, trying to burn the bridges that lead to progress in the name of so-called fighting against discrimination. They have things backwards. In their minds, white people are the victims. I often hear people complain about victimology. What better example of victimology do you have than this? You know, here you have the most privileged segment of society having the audacity to complain about being discriminated against. They're basically trying to slam the doors of opportunity for black people, making it more difficult for black people to advance in this society, basically robbing the people of the legacy of Brown versus the Board of Education. That's what this man is trying to do. Not only has this man done this, not only is this man, proposing to use the resources of the Justice Department against the very communities it is designed to protect. This man and his administration have basically attacked civil rights on various fronts. They've attacked voting rights by creating this sham commission that's supposedly designed to fight against voter fraud, which will in fact be used to suppress black voters, Latino voters, young voters, and other groups of voters. Here you have a man whose Justice Department is reevaluating whether or not to enter various consent decrees with police departments accused of discriminatory policing practice, accused of using excessive force against black people. But they want to reevaluate whether or not these consent decrees are necessary. In places like Chicago, where you had Laquan McDonald gunned down, Paul O'Neill gunned down, all these people killed by these police. All these incidents of police brutality that we hear about, countless cases, Eric Garner, Terrence Crutcher, Sean Bell, and the list goes on and on. Sam DuBose. In light of that environment, you have this administration reconsidering whether or not consent decrees are even necessary. And even worse than that, your president, Donald Trump, spoke to a crowd of police officers, basically encouraging them to rough up suspects. And we know many of those suspects are black people, Latino people, and other so-called minorities. encouraging the police to rough up suspects. And the sad thing and sick thing about it is you had police officers cheering that nonsense. Not only this, you have this man ratcheting up the war on drugs, increasing sentences, thereby exacerbating this problem of mass incarceration. This is the man who has the power right now, who recently appointed a Supreme Court justice a few months ago, and who knows within his first term if he will be able to appoint another Supreme Court justice, thereby completely redirecting the direction of the Supreme Court, making it easier for them to tear down civil rights advances like affirmative action. This is a prime example why elections matter. You had people on here, people on YouTube, people on Twitter. And I'm going to keep reminding people of this. I don't care how tired you get of hearing me say this. But you have people actually encouraging our people not to vote. Encouraging black people not to vote. A don't vote campaign. And every day we are reminded of how stupid those people were for misleading and misdirecting black people. We're reminded of how foolish they were. And those ignorant black people who endorsed Donald Trump, who even took it a step further to endorse this buffoon, this clown, this idiot. They're the people that endorsed this man, these black people who endorsed this man, they are realizing how stupid they were, hopefully. I mean, I'm sure that some of them won't even get it at this point. But the very programs that enabled a lot of those black Trump supporters to get an education are in jeopardy now. So this is a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace that the very institution that's supposed to protect civil rights is now being used to fight against civil rights. And this article points out that a lot of the people who are going to lead this effort in the Justice Department are in the front office, meaning that they are political appointees instead of long-term bureaucrats who have done this work, who have specialized in civil rights work. So this is all political. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough 4 years. And we need to do everything in our power to resist this Trump administration. We need to fight this Trump administration on every front. Fight them in Congress. Fight them in the House of Representatives. Fight them in the Senate. Fight every initiative that they propose using all our resources. Fight the candidates that support this buffoon. Fight them in those primaries. Fight them on every front. Fight them not only in the suites and the offices of government, but fight them in the streets. That's what we have to do. We have to resist. Business as usual cannot continue